If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeanne Ives.
Well, welcome. Thanks for joining me on this Sunday night. There's been a lot that's been happening in Chicagoland, and even more is going to happen. And I'm talking about the ICE operations because they are not going to back down. Now we've got Trump sending about 300 troops, but it has been back-to-back days and nights of the protesters all over the city, including at the Broadview station. Here's what Border Patrol Chief Greg Bovino said on the Chicago operations, talking with a News Nation reporter. Take a listen.
What would you say to the people who are against your operations right now when you're going and doing something like this to keep the community safe? What would you say to those people who are saying, you know, calling you guys Gestapo, things like that as you're walking around? What would you say to them?
You know, I think the first thing I would say is, how about you live in the apartment next door to Trinidad Aragua members that are trafficking and prostitution, guns, drugs, and taking advantage of American citizens in a violent way? Why don't you live next to them and then see how much of a Gestapo or a Nazi we are?
What's the end game here? What's the goal?
Well, the end game tonight, obviously, is to make that area a safe place. We're going to remove all illegal aliens, especially if it's Trinidad Aragua, but any and all illegal aliens, and that's going to make this community a safer place.
Well, that was obviously in discussion of what happened on the South Shore when they, ICE came in on a Tuesday morning, early in the morning with full force, and they went through an apartment building, then had been basically taken over by gangs. And they arrested quite a few people. Some of them were citizens, but you know what? They have that power. Well, here to discuss all of the chaos, what's going on and what to expect from this is Chuck Hernandez. He's a retired Chicago Police Department detective, and he's the chairman of the Chicago Republican Party. Chuck, thanks so much for coming on.
Hey, Jeanne, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, except that I watched this chaos, and I know that it's been created by Pritzker and his minions who just keep on parroting the fact that, you know, ICE is Nazis, ICE are supposed to be attacked, and you saw that happen. In fact, I think one of the most alarming things, and obviously it made national news, is that a caravan of about 10 ICE vehicles were surrounded and blocked, and in one case rammed, and that resulted in a shooting incident with ICE shooting one of the protesters, and that became, of course, national news. So tell me, what do you think is going on there? Did they act appropriately? And then even more so, we find out that CBD was called off. That 911 call was made to them, and then they were said, you are not there to assist ICE. Is that all true? And what are you hearing from your friends?
Yeah, the whole thing, I got to be honest, the whole thing is infuriating. Anybody who's in law enforcement, I was in law enforcement for 28 years and devoted myself to it. To hear that the Chicago Police Department, the brass, and I want to make that clear because that's the brass, the upper level, they are political in nature now because of their appointments and that kind of thing. The rank and file guys, we support law enforcement across the board, and for the brass to give out that kind of an order to not back up law enforcement, sworn law enforcement officers, that is infuriating. So I'm glad to hear that the national FOP, the Illinois FOP, all of law enforcement has come out against that and said there is no way that you do not back up law enforcement officers, federal law enforcement officers that are here. And so what we're seeing is a real escalation. And the words of Pritzker, the words of Mayor Johnson calling law enforcement a disease, has to be repudiated. These people are unhinged. They're out of their mind. They have Trump derangement syndrome to the fullest, and they're not capable of governing anymore. So anybody that has common sense could see right now, this Democrat Party stands for nothing but hate. And these protesters are crossing the line. They're no longer protesters. They're turning into domestic terrorists.
Absolutely. And I know you and I were at that Broadview location about 2 weeks ago. We were there for a joint press conference with the Ted Dabrowski campaign. And, it was pretty peaceful there. Sure, there were some nut jobs walking around, obviously, folks in the middle of the day. I don't know. They must be on public welfare. Who knows? But I don't understand how you can, not be working during the middle of the day like that. But, it's really changed since then. It's like occupied all the time. And then finally, last night, you finally had Illinois State Police get involved, barriered off with concrete blocks, the parkway, and said, you're staying behind this and we're going to have a clear egress and ingress to the facility. Now, why didn't that happen 3 weeks ago? What's wrong with people?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That Broadview center is in that very small suburb of Broadview. They happen to have about 20 sworn law enforcement officers. So this has been kind of taxing to them to be able to to have enough bodies up to respond to 911 calls and to monitor that area as well. So I'm glad to see that the county, the state is sending in like reinforcements. That little department was not able to handle that. And for like whatever reason, the mayor had her political leanings as well and all that, but they needed a bigger law enforcement contingency to handle that. So, and now we're seeing, because they did not handle things the right way, and because our these ICE agents are being attacked, and so now Trump is going to call up the National Guard, which he threatened all along, and he's going to do it now, and rightfully so. We see what happens when the governor and the mayor are antagonizing, and they're also undermining law enforcement. I mean, this now we need that backup, and we need the National Guard here. So that's what's going to happen, and I'm glad to see it.
Well, how do the police feel about the National Guard come in? Do they feel, I imagine that they're grateful for that, or do they feel like this should be handled differently anyway? I mean, I don't know if they probably don't agree with the sanctuary state status. Let's face it, none of this chaos would have to go on if we would just cooperate with federal enforcement when we have a criminal illegal in the jails, and just hand them over that way. And in the midst of all of not doing that is when you get the collateral illegals that are rounded up and taken away. And that seems to be what's gathering the headlines for the leftists.
Yes, that's absolutely right. This could be solved right away, and that's what Ted Dabrowski was talking about that day is the end of the sanctuary city, the end of the sanctuary state. We work with our federal law enforcement partners, and we turn over criminal illegal aliens. When you look at this operation, they call it Operation Midway Blitz, and they've been putting out every day. They're putting out the kind of individuals the kind of criminals that they're arresting. I mean, guys for murder, rape, across the board, robberies, injuring and hurting children. I mean, really dirtbags, the worst of the worst. And these are the people that the Dalia Ramirez, Chuy Garcia, our governor, our mayor, this is who they're behind and trying to run cover for. People who are clear, they're public safety threats, and they need to be removed from our country.
Yeah. Meanwhile, 33 shot in October alone. Okay, this is only day 6 of October. 33 shot, 7 killed. 8 total. 8 shot and killed. 8 total homicides.
Yeah.
It's not like this is really a safe environment, and they want to focus on ICE. Yeah,
that's why we really, the mayor is laughable when he talks about we have it under control. We don't need the help. We absolutely need help. I was a police here for over 28 years. We had manpower issues before I left. It's only exacerbated and gotten worse. We need the manpower. We don't have the manpower. And basically, there's areas over here where I live on the northwest side at night. There's maybe 5 or 6 officers up for a huge area. It's a big geographical area, and they just don't have enough bodies. So we need the help, all the help that we can get. Trump is offering the help, and we need to take him up on it. We need to work with our federal partners and we need to clean up Chicago.
Well, thanks a lot for joining me. That's Chuck Hernandez, a retired Chicago Police Department detective and chair of the Chicago Republican Party. Thanks a lot for joining me on The Real Story, Chuck.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we'll be right back with Jim Iuorio. We're going to talk about that federal shutdown and what it means to GDP, job growth, and so much more. This is The Real Story. Don't go away.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. MyPillow is offering the Classic Collection for wholesale prices. Only $19.98 for a standard MyPillow. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer the entire Classic Collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $24.98. Upgrade to king size for only $29.98. Get the body pillows for $39.98. And the multi-use MyPillows for only $12.98. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing and receive $100 in free digital gifts when your order is $75 or more. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $19.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY. That number again is 800-489-0201. Promo code LIBERTY.
It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock is here with tips to help protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication on your accounts, report phishing, and update your software on all your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, LifeLock is your best choice. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious uses of your personal information, but also fixes identity theft, guaranteed, or your money back. So stay smart, stay safe, and stay protected with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use the promo code BECK. Terms do apply.
Hey, Doc, nice office. Quick question. If you had to choose, would you give yourself a root canal or run payroll?
Run payroll, no question.
Seriously? Have you run payroll before?
Paying my team with Gusto couldn't be easier. Gusto gives me unlimited payroll runs, next day direct deposits, and automatically files my taxes. Saves me time.
Wow, that's nice.
Over here, Doc. Can I run payroll too?
Choose payroll without the pain. Visit gusto.com/radio to sign up for free.
The Real Story with Jeanne Ives continues on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, how about that for just a 2-minute commercial break? I like them really tight because I have a lot to cover. And there were so many breaking stories. Every single story this week that was really about accountability, whether it's the ICE operations that Trump is doing, that's about accountability for the illegal immigration that Biden allowed. Or, and we're going to get to it in my next segment, accountability for the military, which was, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, bringing all the brass in and telling them what's what and what he wants to put them on a war footing instead of this defensive posture. That's all about accountability. And another thing that's about accountability is the federal shutdown. And so to talk about that with me is Jim Iuorio. He's the managing director of GJM Institutional Services and a veteran futures and options trader. He also has a podcast called The Futures Edge. Jim, thanks so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeanne. I appreciate that.
Well, as far as I can tell, the federal shutdown has been just fine so far. I mean, Wall Street Journal is reporting that stocks mostly climbed Friday with the two major indexes notching fresh records. The Dow Industrials climbed and S&P. So whatever. What's going on?
Wait, the federal government shut down? Nobody told me this.
Oh, exactly. That's the whole other thing.
No, the whole thing is nonsense. Even calling it a shutdown. To put it in perspective, it's literally like 16 to 20% of the federal government, which equates to about 5 to 10% of total government at every level in this country. To call it a shutdown is designed to make it sound overdramatic. The media loves that. Different political parties love it because then they can start blaming things on it and pointing to the other party as the responsible party. The whole thing is stupid. If you want to know what the markets think, like you said about the stocks are grinding higher. But more importantly, 10-year yields are exactly the same place they've been throughout the entire month of September. If there was truly some sort of disruption and panic, people would either have been buying aggressively 10 years of flight to safety, or if they thought it was a huge thing, they'd be selling them aggressively because the United States debt would be the thing that we would be worried about. So the fact that none of that's happening means nobody cares. I will point to one thing, and that gold keeps going higher. So here's what I think that's telling us is that the Republicans claim that they're going to use this as something to stop spending. And I believe they will, and I hope they will. But I can tell you this, unambiguously, the gold market doesn't buy it yet. They're saying that the Republicans are going to keep spending, even though they're talking about not. And I hope the gold market is wrong, but that's the message I think is happening. Far bigger issue is the jobs numbers.
Well, but I guess, with the Bureau of Labor and Statistics shut down, we don't really have jobs numbers, or everybody else is calculated using like ADP reports and who's got to, bringing on new people into 401k plans. So they're trying to figure out this a different way. Does it matter? Because honestly, the jobs numbers have been off every single month, for years.
Yeah, often by orders of magnitude. Job numbers have been huge.
Do we care anymore? Does anybody really know?
Well, what's funny about caring, because I just wrote an article about this for the CME, is that the market cares about the BLS numbers and it cares about CPI, even though they're flawed. Everybody knows they're flawed, but also everybody knows if institutional traders throughout the world are going to react to these numbers, then we all have to as well. So it's like this open secret that the numbers are flawed, yet everybody's still going to trade on them. Now, what I was going to say, my sincere hope about the numbers and where we get our data, you mentioned ADP, also throw in JOLTS. These are private entity measures of the labor market. And I really, really hope that we shift, the trading community, the markets, shift their focus to those things and start ignoring the government. And by the way, why in the world does the federal government, why do we rely on them in 2025 to be providing us with information about the economy? We should privatize that for sure. ADP is actually the company that writes the checks. They're the ones who really have a better look at it than the BLS number.
Oh, well, that's a really good point. It's just like, I don't know.
I just thought of.
What?
Can I add one other thing real quick?
Sure.
So since 2020, the response rate, all these government numbers are about surveys. They send out surveys and people respond. The response rates have absolutely cratered in 2020, which to me is a reflection of just a mistrust of government, mistrust of media that's grown since 2020. And now nobody's responding to these survey requests. So that's one of the reasons that they're so awful.
Well, we found that with the census data too. They redid the census data a year after everybody had already reconfigured their congressional districts and said, "Oh, we got the census data all wrong," and that's then you've had massive migration just in 5 years, which is why Texas wants to redo their districts again because they've had 2.5 million people come in. So we rely on data, and it's outdated by the time that it's useful.
Sure, no doubt about it. And I truly believe that we live in the era of mistrust. Deservedly
yes.
so. We were lied to at every level, and now the mistrust, it's just this big cycle that corrupts the data, and then the data is corrupted, and it gets more corrupted because of the additional mistrust. So I think that's where we are now. So we have to figure out where we're going to get the real data from, and that's why I go back to things like JOLTS and ADP and Trueflation, which is another company that calculates inflation that I prefer to the CPI data, but the market still prefers the CPI data, so it's no good being the lone wolf.
The CPI just they don't include a lot of core things that people actually pay for. So I don't know if you can really trust that.
Food and energy and shelter, they take out the CPI. Those are the only things we really need.
Right, exactly. But it's all about the spin when these reports come out anyway. And again, reading in the Wall Street Journal, Trump's team hones its message on the economy. Just wait until 2026, they say. They said Trump's advisors are counseling him to refine his economic message with a pitch to voters aimed at easing their anxiety about weak jobs growth and stubborn inflation. Their new mantra, just wait until next year. What say you, Jim?
So this, by the way, I was kind of ahead of the curve on this. In the beginning of 2025, when we were swearing Trump in, I thought 2025 was going to be a tumultuous year. Anytime you were going from
said that on
one
the show.
economic,
anytime
you're going from one economic system to another, whether it's bad to good, good to bad, or equal, it is inelegant, let's say, for the macroeconomic system, because a lot of people don't want to hire if there's some uncertainty. But I do fully believe that 2026 is going to be the blue skies. And I'll add something else to that, too, is that Jerome Powell is easing rates with inflation running at 2.7, 2.8%. I think that's a combination of two things. One, he wants inflation to run a little bit high, but obviously not get out of hand, because that would be the death to his legacy. But two, I think he thinks a couple things are going to head inflation off in 2026. One of them has nothing to do with Donald Trump, and that's the AI. And I think the ground is shifting under us as far as the productivity increases that are happening from AI. That's disinflationary. But I also think that Jerome Powell thinks that some levels of deregulation, some levels of corporate tax cuts, some people view those inflationary. I say no. I think it handles inflation from a supply side by encouraging companies to produce more. That's, Stephen Moore wrote a book on that, about the supply side solutions to inflation. And I think Jerome Powell believes that's what's going to be the forces in 2026, and that's giving him some confidence to ease now.
Well, I mean, that's all good. And the best thing about the big, this shutdown right now, as far as I can tell, is that, there's going to be $2.1 billion in Chicago infrastructure projects, specifically the Red Line extension and the Red and the Purple modernization project. They've all been put on hold to ensure funding is not flowing via race-based contracting. That's their excuse, but I'm glad it's on hold. But then you also have them actually taking away a lot of the federal subsidies for the wind and solar projects. So, I mean, when you do that and you disrupt the subsidies going to that particular energy market, it doesn't mean that, at least in Illinois, that we're going to unleash the other energy resources that we have. For example, the second largest coal deposits in the entire country. And because we've got these Democrats who, it doesn't matter what Trump does in Illinois, you're going to be hampered by the regulation that Pritzker continues to put on. And we're going to see more taxes. We already see outsized budgets. But this energy issue is a huge deal. And energy is the master resource. It fuels everything. And if we don't get that right, I don't know how we get anything right when it comes to manufacturing things here.
I think you're 100% correct, and I'll add something to it, is that energy is going to be the biggest issue over the next 10 years. It's not just going to be AI, which takes massive amounts of energy. Data centers, quantum computing, cryptocurrency mining. Even if you think that cryptocurrency is the weirdest thing and it's going to go away, the fact of the matter is it's not going away, and it takes tremendous amount of energy to mine it right now. So the answer, again, you can say coal, you can say fairy dust or windmills or whatever the people are on the left are saying. We all know what the real answer is as far as energy goes, and that's nuclear. And that's why about 6 to 8 months ago, I started investing in nuclear through companies like UEC and through the NLR ETF, which is nuclear ETF, because I think it's either in America, it takes 15 years because of the regulations you just talked about to build a nuclear plant. In China and Russia, it takes 3 to 4 years to build a nuclear plant. So we either have to get our act together to compete with them, or else we'll lose it. But either way, somebody is going to be building nuclear reactors and using that to power the new world. So it's either going to be us or it's going to be them. And if we fail on that, that is going to be a big shot in the arm for China and a big headwind for us.
Well, AI, data centers, all of that, here Pritzker has incentivized them. And yet, even with his incentives, what did Elon Musk do? He built a massive, massive AI facility outside of Memphis. He did it in the span of 6 months, and he did it with using 36 gas-fired turbines, because the reliability on those data centers has to be nearly 100%. They can't go down. You can't rely on solar and wind to do it. And so what does Elon Musk also produce? He produces solar panels, but he's not even using his own technology to fuel the AI center that he needs to fuel the rest of his business model. And this is what we get so wrong in this state. I'm a little bit concerned about the AI stuff, because I don't know if it doesn't add more regulation instead of unleashing, Americans to come up with the best uses for it.
Yeah, and you mentioned Tennessee. That's where he's building now, which is much more business-friendly state than we are too. And here's another one of my sincere hopes. Let's consider this: if the federal government stepped back with all its subsidizing and all, and the $2 billion you talked about that was coming here but is not coming here anymore. If the federal government stepped back and really made it a confederation of 50 states that were designed, the beauty of our system was they were designed to compete against each other, and the losing state would lose, and we'd lose population, they'd lose it quickly. The federal government, by being so involved in everything, has really kind of stunted that process. And again, you and I both are sitting on the ground of a state that's going to lose these battles because it's poorly managed. But at this point in time, we don't care. We just want the curtain pulled back and see how badly we're doing things. And if Indiana and Wisconsin are beating us, well, then you get the spoils for that.
That's why I'm like, go, Russ, go. I don't care. Keep the shutdown going.
Amen.
Honestly, I'm totally with that.
Amen, Jeannie. I love it.
Hey, Jim, thanks so much for joining me. We got to take a hard break here. That's Jim Iuorio with Future's Edge Podcast, joining me on The Real Story. Thanks so much.
Scott Jennings sees a clear message from the president.
Here's the quote from the president. If Hamas rejects the deal, then, as you know, Bibi, you have our full backing to do what you have to do. The ultimate result must be the elimination of any danger posed in the region, and the danger is caused by Hamas. Absolute moral clarity from the president.
The Scott Jennings Show. Weekdays at 1, right before Hugh Hewitt at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Carmen Roberts. Some negotiators have arrived in Cairo for tomorrow's Gaza peace talks, with Israel planning to send its team soon. The first topic will reportedly be the hostage prisoner exchange.
They've been fighting for a plan for years. We get the hostages back almost immediately.
Well, President Trump says that if Hamas fails to agree to the peace plan, all hell will break loose. Meantime, he is warning if the government shutdown goes on too long, mass layoffs will start. GOP Senator Markwayne Mullin tells Fox News.
The President of the United States has unilateral authority to deem agencies essential and non-essential, and all the employees inside those agencies essential and non-essential.
Well, critics accuse the president of using the shutdown as a way to target agencies that don't align with his policies. America's listening to Fox News.
The following advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com. Again, that's AIR-RITE.com. Air Right Heating and Cooling. Doing it right since 1959.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
If you need custom boxes and crates, expert packing and crating, import-export transloading with heavy lift capability, the DC Group delivers. It all started 51 years ago with DC Export and Domestic Packing, the hard work of founders Dominic and Carol Cochamiglio. Their family's desire to exceed customer expectations, backed by an incredible team and loyal customers, is now driving expansion. From their humble roots in a garage-sized building to 100,000 square feet in the Chicago area, 45,000 in Greenville, and a new Houston facility, they're coast to coast. And their sister company, DC Transport, handles everything from container drayage to super heavy haul loads across North America since 1991. Whether it's packing and crating, transloading, transportation service, or trade shows, the DC Group delivers. Those that attended FabTech 2025, we'd love to hear from you. Get your quote now at dcexport.com. That's dcexport.com, your trusted logistics partner.
Did you know that AM 560 Radio has a full-service digital marketing division called Salem Surround? If you're a business decision maker, listen up. AM AM 560 listeners are everywhere your potential audience is. So are our incredible targeting capabilities. We localize digital marketing and put it within reach of every business, small and large, in Chicagoland and beyond. Salem Surround offers AI-powered marketing solutions that reach your ideal audience. Whether or not you tap into the proven live, local, and emotional connection that AM 560 Radio brings, Salem Surround offers a total marketing solution to our partners. All-in-one digital solutions that provide targeted local digital and social media ads, Google AdWords management, website services, video strategy, search optimization, and even a management dashboard to offer you total campaign updates and transparency. Your Salem Surround representative is located right here in Chicago. Experience the Salem Surround digital revolution today. Call 847-472-8951. That's 847-472-8951.
We now return to The Real Story. Here's your host, Jeanne Ives.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining me on The Real Story. The phone number here, 312-642-5600 if you want to weigh in on the conversation. There's so much to talk about. And as I started the show out, I started mentioning, Trump's kind of on an accountability tour here. That's really what this is about, from ICE operations to the government shutdown, quite frankly, and Russ Vought and Doge. It's all about accountability. Because if you let this chaos continue, if you don't have standards, if you don't treat everybody equal, you create division, you create chaos, and there's no place for that. Well, one other place that he's mandating accountability is, of course, in the military. And so this is what we got a taste of. Listen here.
From this moment forward, the only mission of the newly restored Department of War is this: warfighting. Preparing for war and preparing to win. Unrelenting and uncompromising in that pursuit. Not because we want war, no one here wants war. But it's because we love peace. We love peace for our fellow citizens. They deserve peace. And they rightfully expect us to deliver it. Our number one job, of course, is to be strong so that we can prevent war in the first place. The president talks about it all the time. It's called peace through strength. And as history teaches us, the only people who actually deserve peace are those who are willing to wage war to defend it. That's why pacifism is so naive and dangerous. It ignores human nature and it ignores human history. Either you protect your people and your sovereignty, or you will be subservient to something or someone. It's a truth as old as time.
Well, that was Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and in dramatic fashion, he called all the top brass, including command sergeant majors and equivalents, to a joint briefing at Quantico this week. At the meeting, he lectured them on the new standards in the military, including grooming, physical fitness, and getting rid of DEI and woke ideology. For many of the brass, this had to be difficult to sit through, but it was a lecture that should never have had to happen if they were adhering to time-tested military standards to begin with. Here to discuss that and much, much more is my friend. I'm so honored to call him a friend, Colonel Ron Scott. He's a retired United States Air Force, a 1973 graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. He has over 30 years of leadership experience in the Air Force, including command at all levels, from flight to wing, senior policy positions at a major command and at the Pentagon. More importantly, he is the president and the CEO of STARS, Standing Against Radicalism and Racism in the Services. It's an organization that's about 5 years old, and it started really towards the end of at the beginning of the Biden years, when they had started to, and COVID, quite frankly, they started to really, the military became unwatchable, honestly, as a veteran, to see what they were doing to the service members. And so, Colonel Scott, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Appreciate it.
Jeanne, I'm honored.
Yeah, well, I couldn't resist adding a little Patton music, because certainly that was the setting that he wanted. And he even said, look, out with the Millies, in with the Pattons. Those were Pete Hegseth's words, and certainly he was making a statement by pulling all those brass together.
He was, and I was standing at attention.
Of course. Oh, my gosh. I might have to go home and watch that movie tonight just because I love it so much. Well, I mean, what do you think about this? I mean, this is something that you guys have been on the forefront of fighting for, stars. And, and I know Lieutenant General Rod Bishop, he's the chairman of the board. What a great day for stars. Congratulations was the first text he received from a friendly media personality that followed the address. And then others said your long-suffering efforts paid off big time in the speech yesterday. It did seem like there was some vindication about everything you've been talking about with the military in Pete Hegseth's address.
Oh, we were really gratified. I mean, he did that without a teleprompter, no notes. He spoke for over 40 minutes, and you could tell he was speaking from his soul. I've seen reports where people say, "Oh, look at the generals and admirals. Boy, they were just sitting there stone silent." No, I think they were all in awe of an individual who's actually coming in there, standing up there, and unapologetically talking about what it takes to be a warrior in our great country, America. I was just thinking today, Jeannie, and this was in response to a comment that Pope Leo made about immigration with the president. And I'm thinking, Pope, name any other country in the world that has done such wonderful charitable things as America. In the 20th century, tyranny was defeated by America. We had partners and collaborators, but America was the reason we defeated tyranny in the 20th century. And I was telling someone just today, I said, when you look at images, and images are very powerful, look at images of cemeteries strewn across Western Europe after the Second World War, of American soldiers and sailors and Marines and airmen buried in European soil, and the crosses and stars of David that are strewn from front to back and across the entire cemetery. America was a Judeo-Christian nation that fought evil in the 20th century.
Absolutely. And Hegseth made sure that the generals understood what we're doing is in terms of a reset with our military and its outlook on how we fight and win wars is nothing different than what they did prior to World War II and was essential for a victory in World War II.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, as technologically advanced as America is, the deciding factor is the morale of your fighting force. The men and women who wear our uniform and are prepared to fight and win our nation's wars, that's the decisive factor right there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I didn't really listen to the speech until I was getting ready for this show. I caught snippets of it. Of course, people were, had a fun time when he talked about the overweight generals and them having to do their PT test every 6 months, just like the rest of them. And those got a lot of, whether you're chairborne or, a ranger, you're going to have, or airborne, you're going to have to, you have to adhere to the standards. And so that got a lot of play in the media. Mm-hmm. But overall, it was a very serious speech that actually embraced the generals and the admirals in their positions. And basically, he said he wanted to unleash them from prior regulations, all sorts of, bogus IG and, reports and inspections and, what am I saying? Anonymous complaints, rather, and things like that. He wanted to unleash them from that stress and wanted to them only focus on training and maintaining, and that is what you do. So
yeah, and when I read critiques and whatever, where they were saying he was being critical of the generals and admirals, no, he wasn't.
No, he wasn't. Mm-hmm.
He was being critical of the standards that have lapsed over the last 20 years. But he talked about, we have your back. The president and I have your back. We are empowering you to command and to lead, and realize that it's your leadership that's going to make our fighting force decisive and powerful. And so, no, it was a pep talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to listen to the whole thing. to get that sense. And I encourage people to do that who are being critical, thinking that he's a little bit out of his league, thinking that you were a major and you're dealing with big generals here, and we still have the best fighting forces, and they run complicated systems and supply chains and procurement and all of that, and you are dressing them down, and really what he was doing was he's trying to boost them up and say, we want to empower you. But if you don't want to, if you're not going to adhere to the new standards, then we really aren't interested in keeping you.
Yeah, and he gave them an option.
Yeah,
if you don't recognize the direction we're going, and I've been duly confirmed by our Senate after being nominated by our commander-in-chief, who was elected by the American people, well, you can resign. You have a choice. But I'll tell you, Stars was invited to head up a warrior board right after the election, given the wokeness and a lot of the crazy things that have happened. And General Bishop and General Arbuckle, our chair and vice chair, and myself, we said, we're honored and flattered that you would consider us to be in such a role, but that's not what we do. We'll identify concerns that we have with policies and decisions and some of the direction that we're going. And if that's connected to people, if there are fingerprints or footprints there, that's up to someone else to deal with that. Our concern is the warfighting ethos here, and we need to reestablish it. And so we couldn't have been more gratified to see the Secretary of War on that stage without a teleprompter or any notes, speaking to our leaders, our commanders and our sergeant majors. And so anyway, we couldn't have been more pleased in terms of what happened there.
Yeah, I mean, he could have just as easily actually played the entire speech at the beginning of the Patton movie or MacArthur's duty honor country speech, and invoked that same sort of commitment to the force, to winning wars. And I think that it's become bureaucratic. I got to tell you, I mean, I've been around bases now because my kids happen to be in the military, so I get to be in and around it, and I'm always very curious. I'm very watchful, and it is different. It is very different. There are a lot of overweight. I'm like, I look at some cadets in these uniforms. I'm like, there's no way you're meeting the standards. I've watched people in the maintenance bay at my son's, place where he has his Navy plane. And I was like, how his hair's way too long. That's not regulation. And I kind of get upset because it's a discipline issue. If you're overweight, if you're not, if you're not shaving, if you're not keeping your hair trimmed up, unless you're special forces. I mean, if you're not doing that, it's a discipline issue in my opinion.
Well, and Jeannie, I'll tell you, my last assignment in the Air Force was running the ROTC program at Arizona State University. I thought I was going to be able to work on my golf handicap, that it was a great, pre-retirement assignment. Mm-hmm. Those cadets made me work my tail off. They wanted to make sure they were ready to be lieutenants on day one. Yep. And so when we did our physical fitness test and whatever, I was out there running the runs, doing the push-ups and the sit-ups with those cadets. At 50 plus years old, letting them know how important physical conditioning was to not just for your own safety and health, but to set an example for the troops you're leading. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the most gratifying assignments I had, because I knew that I was being held accountable by these young college students who wanted to serve our nation as lieutenants, and they wanted to make sure that they were ready. And I needed to be worthy of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so Pete Hegseth on that stage was doing the same thing with these commanders, these 4 and 3 stars. Be worthy of the people you're serving.
Yeah,
because they're counting on you.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. I mean, I ran with my troops when I was, almost 6 months pregnant with my first kid. I'm like, I can go do 5 miles. Let's go.
Sure.
I mean, because you had to set the example. I felt like I had to always set the example. But hey, I just want to tell you how sorry I am that you guys lost to Navy this weekend. I mean, it's always about beating Navy.
I know, but Navy is 5-0 now, and Air Force is 1-4.
That's rough.
Air Force has a very strong offense, but, we need to work on the defense.
Well, maybe West Point Air Force will have a good matchup then, because West Point's not doing that great either.
Oh, my gosh. I almost went to West Point, Jeannie.
Oh, boy. That would have been cool. So did Charlie. He almost went too. Hey, all right. Well, hey, I got to leave it right there. We got to take a break. And I want to thank you so much for being on with me, Colonel Scott. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Jeannie.
All right. We'll be right back. This is The Real Story.
Don't miss Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn every Sunday from 11 to 12. Robert has a different way of looking at retirement from most financial advisors and is happy to share his ideas with you every week. So don't miss what he has to say. Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, Sunday mornings from 11 to 12 on AM 560 The Answer.
Your local State Farm agent, Anthony DeGrotto, combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. You can combine your home, auto, and life insurance to not only save you money, but give you the peace of mind you've been looking for. Anthony DeGrotto is your go-to agent in Chicagoland. He and his team will work for you to provide the best service you expect at the price you want. Combine your home, auto, and life insurance today. Anthony DeGrotto will help you mix and match things perfectly. His State Farm office is a top pick 2024 Daily Herald Reader's Choice Award winner. He's a proud supporter of Tunnel to Towers and like-minded as you. His State Farm agency is currently looking to add members at their Roselle office. Call Anthony at 847-895-1500 today or visit DeGrottoSF.com. That's DeGrottoSF.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Sean Thompson here, and I'm with attorney Bert Hochberg from the law firm of Schiller, Ducanto, and Fleck. We're talking about divorce arbitration. This is not really a new, or is it a new, innovative way to go through divorce?
Arbitration has been around for decades. It's completely legit and available to resolve divorce cases. The litigants and their lawyers sign an arbitration agreement. They identify what the issues are, and we set up dates, and we determine what experts and witnesses there may be. Arbitration is a hearing, a trial that is intended to finish a case efficiently with limited appeal, with a binding decision, and it's confidential, so it has some great characteristics.
I think it's a unique alternative to divorce. For more information, please visit sdflaw.com and type Bert Hochberg into the search box. That's sdflaw.com or call direct 773-255-6150.
Did you know a will alone does not keep your family out of court when you die? The court still has to approve your will. But get a living trust, and your estate can be settled clearly without issue. Talk to the attorneys at Naumann & Associates. They prepare wills and trusts for a flat fee, no surprises, no hourly rate. With decades of experience, they know the law and offer a free consultation. Contact Naumann & Associates in Elk Grove Village, nalawgroup.com. Call 847-593-8777.
Our local hospitals are the heartbeat of our communities, delivering critical care every hour of every day for everyone, training the next generation of caregivers. Beyond the walls, their benefit to the community is everywhere, driving the local economy and supporting local organizations, initiatives, and neighbors. Illinois Hospitals, healing communities. Learn more at team-iha.org. Sponsored by the Illinois Health and Hospital Association. Aired in cooperation with the Illinois Broadcasters Association and this station.
When the power goes out, life stops. Heat, AC, fridge, phones, all gone. But with a Generac home standby generator from True Power Generator Service, your home powers back on automatically, so you're never left in the dark. Book your consultation today at TruePowerGenerator.com. That's TruePowerGenerator.com. Plus, 560 listeners get a free 10-year extended warranty. Terms and conditions apply. Call for details. True Power Generator Service and Generac. It's not just a generator, it's a power move.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeannie Ives.
All right. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives, and we have a couple callers on the line. Let's go to Mitchell. in Des Plaines. Mitchell,
yes.
Welcome to the program.
Yes, good evening. I find it very interesting with your last guest. You bring about a good point with the military. And the irony is that we have Title 10 in this country. And for those that are too uninformed about WCPT, Trump just basically sent 300 National Guard to Chicago, and we got a feckless governor and a mayor who was in denial, okay, number one, because they have shootings every day that they want to suppress.
Right.
But the U.S. president does not need the request of a governor. How many stupid people are out there? It's called Title 10 for a reason. And that's why when you have the biggest problem in these Democratic cities, why would any radical progressive Democrat vote against it? Explain to me in real time, okay, why somebody would argue of having to establish law and order in issues of what I call areas that are so bad that you've got a mayor that supports the criminals, that supports these people committing crimes. He's that idiot. He's
Mitchell,
that moron.
hey. I get it. I mean, I understand. Look, have you ever gone to some of these protests where these folks are? These folks who say F ICE and want the illegals to. Have you ever seen these people? Because it's inexplicable. You can't explain what's going through their head. They just don't know what they don't know. So I mean, our only goal, our only hope is that at least 50% plus one person wakes up in 2026 and votes these guys out of office. I mean, there's no other choice. And so you're right. Trump's got all the authority to come in and protect federal operations in anywhere he needs to go. And that's what he's going to do. And in the process of protecting federal operations, he will be cleaning up the streets as well. So good for them.
So.
I want him to be,
Right.
I want him to be, actually, I want him to go after, use RICO statutes to go after all the gangs going on and just dismantle all of it. So, I mean, it wasn't Al Capone got caught on an IRS issue and not all the murders, right? Well, let's do it. Let's just do it. We need to do that because it is complete lawlessness, and Pritzker wants to protect him. Mm-hmm. That's right.
Exactly.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Appreciate the call, Mitchell.
Sure.
Okay, we're going to go to Bill. Bill, you're on the south side.
Yeah, I was just wondering what happened to General Milley. I mean, whatever happened to him? He just kind of faded out of.
He just retired. He retired out of office. Mm-hmm.
Well, he should have been brought up on treasonous charges, shouldn't he?
Well, I mean, I think cutting a deal behind the president's back and telling China, our number one adversary, that you'll make sure that they're notified ahead of time if there's any impending attack going to happen. Yeah, I would call that treasonous. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you.
Can't they go after him still, or what, with a military tribunal or something?
I don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot of accountability that still needs to be had from the previous administration. And I think there's just such a long list of it that they've got to take action right now on things that are happening in real time. So that would be ICE operations, taking out the drug lords like you see them doing, things like that. They have a lot on their plate, and so they're getting to it. Jim Comey, he's under investigation now, and it looks like he's going to be criminally charged. So they're getting to it.
I think that they got a good handle on the military right now, and getting rid of this woke crap and everything else. Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you very much. Enjoy your program.
Thanks for your call. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to head to break, and we're going to be right back. We're going to have Seth Gruber on. He is a conservative podcaster. He talks a lot about family, the culture, abortion, you name it, and he's going to join us right after this break. This is The Real Story.
Perhaps you're a collector. Or perhaps all of a sudden you have a collection. Maybe it's an inheritance. How do you know what it's worth? This is Sean Thompson for Donnelly Auction. The market for antiques and collectibles is changing all the time. What is your collection worth right now? Well, I've got an easy way to find out. It's simple. You contact Donnelly Auctions with their worldwide audience of live and in-person auctions. They have a good idea of how to tell you exactly what it's worth at exactly right now. They're ready to put top dollar in your pocket. The bigger the collection, the better. Go to DonnellyAuctions.com and get the info on all things that they buy and sell to have an idea of exactly what Donnelly does and how much they need your collection. They have so many buyers. It's a great time to sell. Just simply make a phone call. Donnelly has traveled all over the country to pick up collections. Just call and talk to the people at Donnelly Auctions at 815-923-7000. Donnelly Auctions is your trusted partner in turning your collections into cash. DonnellyAuctions.com.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
Gaza peace talks are proceeding quickly. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. And President Trump says they are going well.
A lot of the countries surrounding Israel, frankly, Muslim, Arab, and many others, have had great meetings with Hamas, and it looks like it's working.
Negotiations begin tomorrow in Cairo. Fox's Steve Harrigan has more from Tel Aviv.
The Israeli delegation is set to head to Egypt on Monday. In the meantime, Prime Minister Netanyahu told the nation that he believes all the hostages will be released in the coming days. One key snag could be disarming Hamas. The organization has not said it will agree to give up its rockets or its rifles. Israeli officials say that's going to happen either through diplomacy or through the use of military force. Here on the ground, more than 100,000 people came out last night to show their support for the return of the hostages, many expressing for the first time a real sense of cautious optimism.
National Guard troops are headed to Portland, Oregon.
Governor Gavin Newsom said National Guard troops from California were being deployed to Portland, and the Pentagon's confirmed it.
Fox's Jill Nato says that is despite a court order that temporarily blocks the deployment.
The Trump administration appealed the decision, and Oregon's governor says troops are making their way to the state. Governor Kotek issued a statement saying there is no insurrection in Portland, no threat to national security. But the White House says the Portland ICE facility needs to be protected from protesters.
The U.S. Navy celebrating its 250th anniversary today at Naval Station Norfolk with President Trump's help.
Please remember, I wrote about Osama bin Laden exactly 1 year ago, 1 year before he blew up the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to watch Osama bin Laden. And the fake news would never let me get away with that statement unless...
America's listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight will be clear and warm with a low of 67. Tomorrow, expect very warm weather with sunshine giving way to increasing clouds. There's a chance of a thunderstorm in some areas in the afternoon, which could make roads slippery due to rain. The high will reach 85. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
The American military brings together brave men and women from across the country who have chosen to answer the call when their country needs them most. At aviatorfuel.com, we know the military because we live the military life. With books written by a Navy pilot and run by a hardworking military spouse, aviatorfuel.com is proud of our service and our country. That's why we never compromise on authenticity. Our cocktail books are modeled off the real Army, Navy, and Marine pilot checklists that military aviators have used for decades. But instead of a procedure on how to handle an engine fire, you'll find the procedure for how to make a mojito. From classic recipes to military specials like the Queen of Battle or the Afterburner, our cocktail books have something special for every veteran. So go to aviatorfuel.com and get ready to raise a glass to the brave men and women who serve our country. That's aviatorfuel.com.
Whether you're preparing for exams, juggling family, career, just looking to stay sharp as you age, Think Factor is here. Think Factor, created by the same company that makes Relief Factor, Think Factor supports sharper focus, stronger recall, clearer thinking. It's a natural way to give your brain the daily nutrients it needs for memory, attention, even vibrant vision. I've been looking for a product like Think Factor, and it's been a game changer in my life. If you want to stay focused during demanding tasks like I do, if you want to keep your memory strong, like I do, if you want to maintain mental energy for whatever's ahead, Think Factor is here. Think Factor is for you. Think Factor, from the makers of Relief Factor. Call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800-4RELIEF, or visit ReliefFactor.com to order Think Factor. That's 800-4RELIEF, or go to ReliefFactor.com, ReliefFactor.com to order Think Factor. Your first bottle, just $19.95. Think Factor. Think clearer, perform better daily.
Ross Shaw talks about building income in retirement.
You know, you can actually structure it in a way that have that $4,000 a month coming in the door every single month. So you don't have to look at the stock ticker and say, oh, the stock market's up today, stock market's down. You still got that $4,000 a month, and having that opportunity to take the vacations and do all the fun things in retirement that you always dreamed to do.
Unleash Your Wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. If we want to preserve our constitutional republic, we need an informed and educated citizenry. And that's what this show is all about. Find out what's really happening. It's time to stop the lies and learn the truth. This is The Real Story with your host, Jeanne Ives.
Well, that didn't take too long, but I'm glad that I'm glad it happened. It shouldn't have ever happened in the first place. Well, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Cardinal Cupich awarding Dick Durbin a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Office of Human Dignity and Solidarity. That should have never happened. But after much backlash, including 10 bishops from across the United States pushing back on the fact that, Durbin shouldn't even get this award. And we thank Bishop Paprocki of the Springfield Diocese for taking a hard stand on that and being the first out to say, look, Cardinal Cupich did not consult with me on this award. I am, Durbin is a constituent in my diocese, and he has been refused Holy Communion since, I believe, 2004. Why? Because Durbin is one of the biggest pro-aborts in the Democrat Party. He sat there as the number 2 in the Democrat Party for 2 decades as he watched his party get more and more radical about abortion. There's no way that he deserves this. He would never deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Office of Human Dignity, or any award for that matter from any Catholic or religious institution. Unfortunately, Pope Leo, equivocated when it came to discussing this thing, and said you have to look at the whole cloth type of opinion on giving him this award and the totality of his involvement in things. Well, look, there's nothing when it comes to the culture that Dick Durbin has been on the side of Christians or the faithful. Nothing from gay marriage to transgender issues to abortion to immigrants, which is ostensibly why he was getting the award, is for illegal immigrant, for his work with immigrants. But what he has done to open the borders and support open borders that have trafficked children, drugs, and adults is sinful. It's actually sinful. So anyway, Dick Durbin, and I'm reading from Fox News, who long supported abortion rights, declined a planned Lifetime Achievement Award from Cardinal Blaise Cupich after backlash from Catholic bishops and lay leaders. Senator Durbin today informed me that he has decided not to receive an award at our Keep Hope Alive celebration. Keep Hope Alive? Keep Hope Alive? You're awarding somebody who is pro-abortion in a Keep Hope Alive celebration? None of it makes sense. And Cupich went on to say, while I'm saddened by this news, I respect his decision, but I want to make clear that the decision to present him an award was specifically in recognition of his singular contribution to immigration reform and his unwavering support of immigrants, which is so needed in our day. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not needed. Anyway, the culture wars have arrived, and Trump has done a lot to tamp down them. He's done a ton on these issues, but much more work is to be done. And that work is not going to be done through the presidency, but it is going to be done through individuals and certainly the church. Well, here to discuss that, I am so thrilled to have Seth Gruber. He is a podcaster, conservative podcaster. He has the Seth Gruber Show, and he has a fast-growing pro-life ministry in America. And he's launched what he calls the 1916 Project, an eye-opening book and vital documentary to further awaken the American church to her pivotal role in today's culture war. And that's what I want to talk to him about, the church's role in the culture wars. And so I welcome him to my program now. Thank you so much, Seth, for joining me.
Thank you. Super honored.
So, tell us a little bit more about how you see the culture war unfolding and where the fights can best be had so that we can win this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, one of the things that I think the pro-life movement has actually done really poorly is we failed to recognize how intertwined and interconnected a lot of these evils are. The film that I made last year that will be streaming on Daily Wire Plus in about 2 weeks, starting October 16th, that you mentioned, the 1916 Project, kind of unveils and reveals a lot of the hidden history of the abortion movement and the secular moral revolution, starting in 1916 when Margaret Sanger opened functionally what became the first Planned Parenthood clinic. But one of the things that Schaeffer pointed out, Francis Schaeffer in the 70s, is that the church is really bad at dealing in totals, and we tend to deal in bits and pieces with culture, with ideologies, with worldview. And a lot of people will tell me, because I speak on a lot of different topics, but our organization is devoted to ending abortion, awakening the local church to establish righteousness where they live and to push back the forces of evil. People will say, well, Seth, just stay in your lane. You're a pro-life speaker, pro-life activist. Why don't you just talk about that? The thing is, you can't understand or functionally defeat or dismantle abortion if you don't understand sexual revolution. And you can't understand or defeat sexual revolution if you don't understand cultural Marxism. All of these things are intertwined with one another. All of the high priests of humanism, if you will, who have architected the culture of death that we're living in, yes, they did want sex with minors in the 60s and 70s. Yes, they did want third trimester abortions. Yes, they did want to get rid of the criminalization of sodomy. And yes, they did want to obliterate marriage by calling gay marriage the same as marriage. Like, this was all planned out. They had a goal for this. They spoke openly about this. So Planned Parenthood, even as the behemoth of the abortion industry, doesn't deal in bits and pieces. Not only are they the largest abortion provider in the world, they're also the largest provider of the pornographic comprehensive sexuality education in America's public schools. It's bringing a lot of angry mama bears and papa bears to school board meetings over the last 5 years. And Planned Parenthood is also the largest provider of cross-sex hormones and puberty blockers for America's gender-confused youth. If we're going to win this battle as Christians, if we're going to give God a reason to show America mercy, if we're going to hold back the forces of darkness like the saints of the past did before us, we're going to have to start recognizing who the enemy is and how he operates. It's not just abortion or the sex revolution. Right. We call it the liberal establishment. So many of these things are connected to much deeper, darker assumptions, worldviews, and ideologies. And that's a lot of what we do at the White Rose Resistance, is try to get the church to understand that, and that ultimately this is actually all spiritual and theological.
Well, I couldn't agree more. That was that's incredible what you just put together there. It's not unlike John Paul II's Humana Vitae.
Yeah, prophetic.
I mean,
brilliant.
That's absolutely. He put it all together too. There's a total connection between how you view sex within the realm of marriage and contraception and everything. And now you've got
absolutely.
test tube babies and whatnot and surrogacy and we're just going down this path where we don't really respect it, where sex is separated from procreation is separated, and then abortion becomes even more available and easier to obtain.
Absolutely.
So we have a problem here. I just don't see in my own Catholic church, quite frankly, them wanting to preach this from the pulpit in the way that it needs to be preached. I don't know if you see that in other churches, but I don't even know if you're Catholic or not, but it is absent.
It's almost axiomatic, isn't it, at this point, right? We call them the still silent shepherd, sister. I mean, at this point, it's like, I don't know. It's like, is the Pope Catholic? Is local churches cowards? Like, unfortunately, so many churches have abandoned the cultural mandate. Genesis 1-3, fill the earth and subdue it, be fruitful and multiply, exercise dominion. These are not small commands. These commands are totals. They cover everything. Because what happens when you start being fruitful and multiplying? Humans. Oh my gosh, that's right. And as the family grows, the village grows, the clan grows. Eventually, you've got a little city, right? And eventually, people have to come and sell the goods of their hands in the marketplace. And I mean, I guess there's got to be laws and a government of some kind, I guess, because we got so many people reproducing and fulfilling the Genesis 1-3 mandate. So eventually, this just means, actually, I put everything under your feet, says the Lord. I want you to exercise dominion over the entire earth. And so I think a lot of the problems in the church, whether we're talking the Protestant or the Catholic Church, is that we have often started our gospel at John 3:16 instead of Genesis 1. We've forgotten who we are, whose we are, where we come from. And my next film that we're working on, called The Last Stand, frankly, there's been nothing that's been done like this since Schaeffer's How Should We Then Live? We really believe it's important for the church to remember the heroes and saints and warriors of the past who faced all of the same stinking issues. We're so stupid. Listen, I love Narnia and C.S. Lewis, and in The Silver Chair, the penultimate Narnia book, Aslan has already sent Eustace to Narnia, and then he's about to send Jill Pole, and she's on Aslan's mountain, and he says, listen, when I send you down into Narnia, the fog will thicken, the air will thicken, your mind will begin to fog, and you'll forget the signs. So listen, I need you to free the prince, break the spell, and free the land. But to do that, you need to remember the signs, says Aslan. Say them to yourself when you wake in the morning, and when you lay down at night, and when you wake in the middle of the night. And whatever strange things may happen to you, let nothing turn your mind from following the signs. Remember them, believe them, nothing else matters. I think we have a lot of Christians today in America who they look at the sexualization of children, the chemical castration of minors, the sexual mutilation of teenagers, the third trimester and fourth trimester, frankly, abortions at the Democrat Party just takes as a sacrament of their, satanic religion. Whatever the issue is, the gay surrogacy with gay throuple sodomites, adopting children and raising them in motherless homes. I think a lot of people who are not culture warriors like you, friend, they look at this stuff and they go, wow, this is unprecedented. Wow, this is pretty wild, huh? I've never seen this before. It's because we're stupid. We have seen this before. Now, maybe not third-party reproductive technologies because we didn't have the ability to do that. But like all of this kind of stuff has been fought before, from the state trying to raise your kid because they think they're a better parent, to the sexualization of children, to the fact that children and women didn't even have rights. That was Christianity that came about with this idea that women and children should have rights. Those are just particles that pagans breathe into the air, and they just assume that that's just part of their paganism. No, you got that from Christianity, you idiots. And so all of the warriors before us in the faith have faced these battles, but they were faithful. They pushed the darkness out, and they laid the foundations for renewal and reformation in our day. We are so dumb. If we look at these evils and we go, wow, I've never seen this before, it's time that we remember who we are. Psalm 87 says, righteousness cannot be done in a land of forgetfulness. The Bible says that if the foundations be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? Well, the answer is they rebuild the foundations, but we have a church that doesn't even know what those foundations are, how they were made, and therefore does not know how to rebuild them. So until we remember who we are, we're not going to be able to fight this battle effectively and hold back the forces of darkness. No one's coming to save America. Like Reagan said, this is America's last best hope of man on earth. And if we can't deal with the sexualization and the murder of children in the womb, we deserve God's judgment in America. And frankly, we will not keep this republic because God is not going to bless a nation that continues down this path. So thank God for Trump. He's a tourniquet, not a savior. He's already doing evil things. He just green-lighted more of the abortion pill. See, I critique Trump when he does stupid things, and I praise him when he does good things because I'm not accountable to the GOP. I'm accountable to the GOD. So thank God it's not Jezebel Harris. Thank God. But we have a lot of work to do. Trump is a tourniquet, and we have to make the local church great again.
Well, I mean, I believe still that Catholics are probably the most populous religion in America. Maybe it's the Protestants, not sure, but certainly they've got a structure that is hierarchical in nature, where you should be able to get common teaching all the way down to the last person sitting in the pulpit or in the pew, but you just don't seem to get it. For example, today, it was about violence, and there was a passage in the Bible. I'm sorry, I'm not that great at this, but it was about, what do you do with all this violence amongst you, right? And at the same time, the preacher also said, hey, here's our safety map on if there's violence in the church, what you should do. But he didn't connect the dots. He didn't connect the dots. He could have easily used it as a teaching point about the trans violence that is happening to Christians. He could have preached on it. He didn't go there. They're afraid to go there. They will not say what needs to be said. I was waiting for him to say something about the Minnesota Catholic shooting and a school shooting, and he didn't do it, even though there was a map of what do you do and how do you respond if there's violence in the pews. And he would not connect the dots for people about what they're seeing in the culture. And he had a perfect testing point, and he didn't do it. It was so disappointing to me, quite frankly. But, with the time we have left, can you tell us more about your 1916 project? And I think it's great because it's not the 1619 project. Is that intentional, or is it 1916 important?
Of course, that was intentional.
Of course.
And I don't have time to get into the whole thing. The short version is that it was actually the 1619 project that laid the foundation for the summer of 2020, BLM, George Floyd, burn every major American city down, because CNN called the summer of love of 2020. CNN called it the 1619 riots. And Nicole Hannah-Jones, who wrote the 1619 Project, said she was honored to have it called that. And then, because the 1619 Project, which came out about 9 months before George Floyd was allegedly murdered, says America is systemically racist, root and branch, you should hate your country. So, of course, when George Floyd allegedly gets murdered, everyone goes racism. That's the only thing they can scream. And then they release Antifa and really a whole generation of woke leftists to go attack any institution that they think was started in racism. And then they attacked Planned Parenthood. The left attacked Planned Parenthood and said, your founder was a racist. So it was actually kind of the 1619 Project that led to Planned Parenthood being in the crosshairs of the radical left, having to admit that their founder was a racist and taking her name off of the New York City, Manhattan, mega Planned Parenthood clinic, which led to this question, then what's the real story? What's the real history behind Margaret Sanger and Planned Parenthood, who founded her first clinic, not in 1619, but in 1916? So we blow the cover off in my book and film, The 1916 Project, streaming on Daily Wire starting October 16th, or any parish or any church in America can host a screening of my film for their people by going to the1916project.com, the1916project.com. And let me tell you, friend, you're going to learn about Hitlerian, pedophilic, Alfred Kinsian Nazi links that you have been absolutely hidden from you about the origins of Planned Parenthood. You can't be an honest liberal and watch this film and still support Planned Parenthood or vote for the Democrat Party. It's an absolutely damning critique and takedown of really the sacred cow of liberalism, which is killing babies, and the origins of that movement starting in the early 20th century. So the book is called The 1916 Project, The Lying, the Witch, and the War We're In. And the film is just called The 1916 Project.
Oh, my gosh. That's great. I'm absolutely going to recommend it to our pro-life leader at our church, and I'm going to have my own organization support a screening of that. Thank you so much, Seth Gruber. Really appreciate you joining me on The Real Story.
Thank you. Bless you.
All right. And we'll be right back. This is The Real Story with Jeanne Ives.
Mike Gallagher reflects on laying Charlie Kirk to rest.
I can honestly tell you that in my 65 years on this planet, I have never experienced anything like this in my life. For Turning Point USA and the U.S. Secret Service to put this together in 7 days was nothing short of miraculous. It's typical vintage Charlie Kirk.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Hey Chicagoland, your trusted friend Jeff here from JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Over the past few months, I've shared how our veteran-led team serves Chicagoland homeowners. Today, I want to share with you what your neighbors are saying about working with us. Like Mary in Downers Grove, who wrote, "They listened to my concerns about moving from my home of 30 years and created a timeline that worked for me. Or Tom and Carol Stream, who said, their team helped me sort through 40 years of memories with respect and patience. This is why hundreds of your neighbors have given us a 5-star Google review and an A+ rating with the BBB. We don't just buy houses. We help people through life's transitions with understanding and care. No repairs needed, no cleanout required, and always on your timeline. Ready to work with the home buying team your neighbors trust? Sell your house to the trusted source by calling us at 630-895-9530. That's 630-895-9530 or jeffbuysyourhouse.com.
You need a construction company, but who?
Call Crosscom.
A construction company you can trust that shares your Christian and conservative values. For decades, Crosscom has been doing work in Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana, and Wisconsin. Roofs, siding, windows, doors, gutters, basically everything for your home or business, even solar. Quality work and professional services that make you feel great about your decision to work with Crosscom.
Call Crosscom.
630-871-5500. Give them a chance to earn your business. If your repairs are due to storm, fire, or flood damage, you need to
call Crosscom.
They're licensed public adjusters. They work for you, not the insurance company. Crosscom will work to get you the money you deserve, the maximum payout. They know the insurance companies and how to deal with them. They win for you.
Call Crosscom.
Crosscom Construction and Public Adjusters.
This is Dan Lights with Crosscom. You can trust us with your home or business for high-quality work and fair prices. It's the only way we do business.
630-871-5500. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeanne Ives.
Oh, welcome back. Thanks for joining me tonight. The phone number here is 312-642-5600, and we have Eduardo from Tampa Bay on the line. Eduardo, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous. I think things are going to get out of hand between now and next year's midterm election. I mean, I just saw this $1 million home from Judge Goldenstein that burned down in South Carolina.
Oh, I didn't catch that story.
Yeah, well, she was under. She was criticized by the Supreme Court because she was dealing with a case as far as whether or not somebody's information can be sent over to the state. Information. Yeah, so that was in debate. But looks like we're going to be getting rid of Mr. Maduro. I mean, they're saying they're going to be taking out airfields when they do go in.
In Venezuela?
I got to ask you, do you think that's a great idea if everything goes well to bring Mr. Maduro to U.S. court? He does have a bounty. You think that's going to be a good idea?
Well, I mean, I just, Eduardo, he dropped. Okay, no problem. I don't know. I'd rather his own people take him out of office and do what they want to him. So, well, there we go. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left before we have to go to another break. Sorry, we have these hard breaks at the bottom of the hour and the top of the hour. That's just how radio works. So I wanted to talk to you, my audience, and highly encourage them to join us October 28th for our fundraiser. The concerned citizens of Manteno are fighting the Communist Chinese Party affiliated Goshen. And, they've been doing this now for 2 years, and they have a great lawyer, and they need our help to pay for their legal expenses as in regards to the lawsuit. And the lawsuit's going forward. It's in discovery now. And you know what? We've got a great chance of winning this. I've been helping them for 2 years now. But we're having Gordon Chang on. You've heard him before on my show a couple different times. He's author and speaker and expert on the Chinese Communist Party and their threat to America. So this is everybody's fight. If you don't like crony corporate handouts, then you should want Goshen to go away, because Pritzker gave them $536 million and sent them a check for $125 million cash, which they then used to buy up surrounding farmland. And then actually they're probably paying the lawyers against this small little group of concerned citizens. So they're using our tax money to defend themselves in court. Okay, let's just put it that way. Number two, so you don't like that, then you need to do that. If you're concerned that the Chinese are coming in and setting up shop here to outcompete us with our own tax money, our subsidies. Look, maybe you want to have China come in and build EV batteries. I certainly don't, but I certainly don't want to subsidize them with $500 million. So if you don't like handing money to our adversaries, then you should be in this fight with us. And if you don't like the idea that we're subsidizing green energy scams, then you should be in the fight with it. Okay, the tickets are $125. It's well worth it because I need you guys to help out the concerned citizens of Mendocino, a small group of people who stood up, and they're standing up to big government, and they're standing up to China. You can help them. Buy a ticket, breakthrough-ideas.com. It's going to be a great evening. It's at Olympia Fields Country Club, October 28th. Go to breakthrough-ideas and buy your tickets now. Thanks a lot. We'll be right back. We've got the Edgar County Watchdogs coming up.
Hugh Hewitt talks shutdown.
Chuck Schumer shut down the government. Now, it's already beginning to crack on the Democratic side. The vote was 55 to 45. The other 5 were going to come over. I don't know when they're going to do it, but Democrats are getting hammered, as they should be, because it's an absolutely silly shutdown. It's a Seinfeld shutdown. It's a shutdown about nothing, over nothing. It's the Schumer shutdown.
The Hugh Hewitt Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Fox News, I'm Carmen Roberts. Some negotiators have arrived in Cairo for tomorrow's Gaza peace talks, with Israel planning to send its team soon. The first topic will reportedly be the hostage prisoner exchange.
They've been fighting for a plan for years. We get the hostages back almost immediately.
Well, President Trump says that if Hamas fails to agree to the peace plan, all hell will break loose. Meantime, he is warning if the government shutdown goes on too long, mass layoffs will start. GOP Senator Mark Wayne Mullen tells Fox News.
The President of the United States has unilateral authority to deem agencies essential and non-essential, and all the employees inside those agencies essential and non-essential.
Well, critics accuse the president of using the shutdown as a way to target agencies that don't align with his policies. America's listening to Fox News.
It's Reveille. To my Illinois listeners, yesterday I endorsed my friend Ted Dabrowski for governor of Illinois. I've known and worked with Ted for over 13 years. I first met him when I was a new state representative. He was my go-to researcher and sounding board on a wide range of issues, from property taxes to crony corporate government handouts. Illinois cannot survive 4 more years of Governor Pritzker. He squandered 7 years, billions of new revenue, and the political power to make things better. Pritzker could have made lasting revolutionary changes to budgeting, property tax and pension systems, business regulation, parental rights, and so much more. He did the opposite. His years are marked by record spending, doubling the gas tax, moving Illinois to the #1 spot for highest property taxes, protecting criminal illegal aliens, stagnant job growth, record vacancies in the downtown office market, green energy policies that have resulted in sky-high electric bills, making Illinois a travel destination for abortion, and allowing schools to secretly misgender students behind their parents' backs. We can do better. As to the other candidates in the race, I know them well. They can't win. I supported Bailey in 2022, but we have a much better option this time around in Ted Dabrowski than his running mate, Dr. Kerry Mendoza. No one knows the issues better than Ted, and no one is better positioned than Ted and Kerry to attract independent suburban voters on the merits of who can do better for Illinois families. I'm calling on my fellow pro-life and pro-family voters to join me in supporting this team. They share our values and are in the best position to win fighting for them. To learn more, visit tedforillinois.com. I'm Jeanne Ives. Listen to The Real Story on Sunday from 7 to 9 p.m. and sign up for my newsletter at breakthrough-ideas.com.
When it comes to industrial coating and finishing, cutting corners isn't an option. That's why leading manufacturers across the Midwest trust D&D Industrial Coatings in Racine, Wisconsin. From powder coating and liquid painting to blasting and custom finishing, D&D Industrial delivers top-tier protection and performance, fast, precise, and built to last. With over 40 years of experience, ISO-certified processes, and state-of-the-art lines, D&D handles everything from OEMs and petrochemical to agriculture, marine, construction, medical, and government specs. Family-owned, nationally trusted. Whether it's a short run or high volume, your parts are in expert hands, finished on time and finished right. Visit them today, ddindustrial.net. Again, that's ddindustrial.net. Or call them at 262-637-0686 to get your custom quote today. Again, that's 262-637-0686. D&D Industrial Coatings. Engineered to protect. Finished to impress.
Making the switch to a new communications and IT company may seem like a big ordeal, but if you're not getting the reliable support, consistent internet, and secure solutions your company needs, meet Access One, your local Chicagoland IT experts. Access One has been powering Chicago businesses with secure, reliable IT solutions for over 30 years from our headquarters right here in the West Loop. Whether it's VoIP phones, dedicated internet, managed cybersecurity, cloud backups, or 24/7 support, Access One is here for you. Serving thousands of companies from Naperville to the North Shore, Access One is Chicago-owned and Chicago-run, a trusted IT partner for law firms, clinics, tech startups to manufacturers. We'll make the switch easier than you think. Let's talk. Call 800-804-8333 or visit accessoneinc.com. Rated top 5% in customer satisfaction and a Better Business Bureau A+ rated business. That's accessoneinc.com. Tech made personal locally.
We now return to the real story. Here's your host, Jeanne Ives.
All right. Well, we know what that music means. It's the time for the Watchdogs. But before we get to them, Eduardo, you dropped. Your call dropped. Did you have a point that you wanted to make at all? Is there Eduardo on the phone still?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can now.
Okay. I'll be real quick. Yeah, my question was, before I dropped off, was you see, if everything goes well with Venezuela, do you see Maduro standing trial in a U.S. court?
No, I don't actually, but you know, you never know. I just think that I think his own country will take care of him.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All
Jeanne.
right.
Yeah?
Thank you. Thanks for calling, Eduardo. I really appreciate you. Okay. All right. So the Watchdogs are on the road. I think they're in the vehicle together. They just did a Lincoln Day dinner. They were the keynote at the Hancock County Republican Lincoln Day dinner. And well, guys, what'd you tell them?
Well, Jeanne, Perk's just getting in the truck. He's long-winded, so he just finished. We told them what we tell everybody, how to hold your local government accountable through the Freedom of Information Act, through the Open Meetings Act, through attending meetings, even if you're going to just sit there and look at the board while they do their business. Speak at the meetings if you want to, and record either by video or audio every public meeting you go to, because you may want to refer to that later. And, you know, you basically, it's the same story everywhere. You get what you vote for. And if you don't know what you're voting for, you don't know who you want to retain, or maybe tell them adios. Yeah.
Well, speaking of FOIA, because that's one of the key tools that you use, we have not covered this, but I know that it's a pending story that you've been covering, and it's in my own township, Milton Township. So apparently, are they still refusing to give you records for their food pantry?
Yes, and we've noticed this across the state. I mean, Madison County had an entity that did this. In Benton, Illinois, they had an entity that's doing this right now with their Visitors Bureau at Wren Lake. And Milton Township's also doing this. Public bodies seem to think that they can start up their own nonprofit business with the public body starting it up, the public body appointing the board members or being on it themselves, the public body taxing for that a nonprofit that's doing the business of the public body. Let's face it, food, providing food to poor residents is in the case of Milton Township, is a business of the township. A visitors bureau and Benton is covered in the county's code. Mm-hmm. So they're not just some optional service that the government is not supposed to do. These are government functions.
But they're setting up these nonprofits because there's loopholes or there's roadblocks in the law that say they can't get additional resources from particular other nonprofits unless they're nonprofits. That's my understanding.
Yeah, and they're under the mistaken belief, and we'll prove it eventually, that those nonprofits, even though in Milton Township that they're not subject to FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act, or Open Meetings Act. In the case of Milton Township, the board of directors is appointed by the township supervisor and trustees. They use the township website. They use the township phone number. They use the township mailing address, the township building. They use the township vehicles, which were purchased specifically to transport food, and they have municipal plates on them. So they're using the township insurance also. They use the township employees or officers, and the financial records are kept in the township treasurer's office.
So if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. And
it's a duck.
Yeah, this is a duck, and they're pretending like they're a nonprofit and not subject to FOIA. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
And there's no contracts between the township and the food pantry, so they can't claim they're a contracted entity. And even if there were contracts, I don't believe it would be valid because the AG already determined that the Agency for Mass Transit down in Madison County was a contractor to the Madison County Mass Transit District for the sole purpose of providing transit to residents of Madison County. And the AG determined, even though they're a nonprofit, these poor things make them subject to the OMA and FOIA.
So as a nonprofit, I mean, are they having to file 990s? Because that's an extra burden.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so my point, so if you were to get your FOIA lawsuit against Milton Township, if you were to win that FOIA lawsuit where you say, look, you are a public body, you actually are subject to FOIA, wouldn't that in turn be precedent setting? And then you could maybe get some, I don't know, maybe some state rep to change the law and say, or make it, well known in the law that township food pantries cannot be a nonprofit and you're subject to FOIA. And if you want to get other food stuff, you can receive it from like Northern Illinois Food Bank or wherever else they want to receive it. It seems like such an easy fix. This is just nonsense.
The easy fix would be to have a FOIA bill presented that specifically stated any nonprofit set up by a local government is by definition of extension that local government and subject to FOIA and Open Meetings Act. A local government shouldn't be able to set up a nonprofit to avoid accountability.
Absolutely. And that's what they're doing. And I mean, actually, even the bigger picture here is we have to look at the finances, because you have to look at what is the bureaucracy of the township setting up and expanding. I mean, massively expanding. Some of these food pantries are building their own buildings. They're getting $1 million grants from the Congress to set up these massive food banks. Like, what happened to People's Resource Center? I mean, they just had a gala to raise money for their entity. They have a brand spanking new building. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like it's just growing and growing and growing, and with it grows bureaucracy. So is how much of the overall spend is actually going to the people, and how much is being spent on supervisors and everything else?
Exactly. And the truth is, several years ago when we were in Bolingbrook Township, we pointed out that Township did not have the authority to operate a food bank. So they changed the law, which is why you're seeing all these expansions and putting up brand new buildings for food banks now, because They're now authorized to operate a food bank.
Yeah, break the law, change the law.
Yeah, we don't have
Screw the
Have that
taxpayer.
stuff down. We don't have that stuff downstate.
No,
we just don't have.
It's only upstate.
Okay.
We like to grow government up here. Got lots of people who want to do that. Mental health boards, expansive food banks, you name it. All at the township level, when you have all these other actual nonprofits that are doing this, or actual businesses that are providing that services, or they're provided at the county, or they're provided through your insurance, or they're provided through food stamps, you name it. It's just growing bureaucracy, throwing it on your property tax bill.
Or they're giving the kids 3 free meals a day at school.
That's right. I don't get it. All right. Do we have time for your Bolingbrook Police Department records?
Yes, I can run through that real fast.
Okay.
Bolingbrook Police Department had an off-duty police officer that was in Oswego, a village of Oswego or city, whatever it is, that allegedly got involved in road rage incident and pulled the gun on the other driver, and police were involved. Police reports were given. The Oswego Police Department did police reports. The Bolingbrook Police Department disciplined the guy. But when I asked for the records, they denied the vast majority of them. Bolingbrook Police denied even giving me any body camera footage or police departments from Oswego that Oswego Police Department gave to Bolingbrook Police Department. They claimed they don't know what Oswego would be considered redactable, so they're not going to give me the records. Well, it doesn't matter what Oswego deems redactable because the records are in the hands of Bolingbrook Police Department. So they can't have it both ways. They can't keep the records and say, well, we don't know what's redactable, so we're not going to give it to you. It's their job to contact Oswego and find out what to redact.
All right. Another cut and dried FOIA case. And if they don't respond, they'll be sued by your lawyers and they'll cause their taxpayers to pay out those legal fees just to get the information that the public is entitled to have. Right?
Correct.
That's right. All right. We've got more with Kirk right after this break. These are the Edgar County Watchdogs, and you're listening to The Real Story with Jeanne Ives.
It was a typical day. You were doing the usual, but then you met up with a friend at Weinstock Market and Lounge in Woodstock. Wow! The small-town charm and turn-of-the-century building set the tone for a classic outing. Their charcuterie pleased your palate like you never imagined. The Chicago beef sandwich made your taste buds dance. And the hand-selected wines from small vineyards around the world, so perfect. All paired with amazing live music. Weinstock Market and Lounge changes your day from ordinary to extraordinary.
Weinstock Market and Lounge, voted McHenry County's best wine shop and best of Fox 2 years in a row. Open Tuesday through Saturday, 3 p.m. till 11 p.m. Live music on weekends. Open mic nights on Tuesdays. Enjoy the fresh baked pizza and Chicago beef sandwiches. Wine favorites from Italy, New Zealand, France, and California. And a full menu of handcrafted cocktails. Plan a trip to Weinstock Market and Lounge on the square in downtown Woodstock. Mention AM 560 and receive 10% off any purchase.
Hi, my name is Dr. Michael Huber. During cold and flu season, a nearby cough or sneeze can trigger a familiar dread, that helpless feeling of being defenseless against an invisible viral threat. But what if you could change the narrative? What if you could fortify your body's natural defenses? This is why I developed Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail designed to give your body the upper hand. Virago is more than a supplement. It's a revolutionary liquid formula packed with 23 powerful natural nutraceuticals for rapid absorption. This unique blend is scientifically crafted to help build resilience and keep you protected. Don't just hope for good health. Make it happen with Virago. Virago and Maha, making America healthy again.
Virago. Order your bottle today online at myvirago.com and use coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. myvirago.com. Coupon code IMMUNE.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Ugh, me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Let's go!
Don't get stuck with a cold shower this fall. Give CenterGuard Plumbing a call. Get a new 40-gallon water heater installed for just $1,195 for standard installation, or a 50-gallon heater for $1,295 standard installation. A proud new sponsor of AM 560, CenterGuard is offering specials on new water heaters. Don't wait. The cold temperatures are coming, and the same can happen to your water heater. If you're having hot water issues or your water heater's over 8 years old, take advantage of this fall special today. CenterGuard Plumbing is Chicagoland's same-day water heater experts. Call before noon, and they can schedule your repair or install the same day on in-stock water heaters. They'll even haul away your old one, no charge. You're only a text away from install today. Call 847-406-8883. Mention AM 560 to receive fall special pricing. That's 847-406-8883. Call or text 847-406-8883 or visit centerguardplumbing.com.
You're listening to The Real Story with your host, Jeanne Ives.
Well, thanks for joining me tonight. Welcome back. We still have the Edgar County Watchdogs with us, and it's Kirk's turn. He's got a very interesting story, this time from Coles County. Matt Toon. Apparently he's a little bit legal trouble here. Right, Kirk?
Well, I would like to hope so, but with the way we've seen the courts rule on things,
yep.
I'm not going to hold my breath. But this one they definitely brought upon themselves.
Well, I believe I've met Heidi Larson before at a dinner down there. She seems pretty competent, and she's certainly taking on this fight. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit more about the lawsuit?
Well, basically, it's a First Amendment case where they have tried to chill everything she was doing to expose the malfeasance that was going on within the school. It was a school district. I don't remember the school district number down there, but it was there in Coles County in Mattoon, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
And when we first got involved, she reached out to us right during that COVID time frame, and that's when we brought the basic law to the attention of the school board that they have to answer people's questions. The school code outlines they have to have a time for citizens to ask questions, and the purpose is for them to get answers. And at that time, Senator Ryder was on the board. He's currently the board president, former Senator Ryder,
mm-hmm.
and he acknowledged that, we need to answer
former
questions.
Tax hiker. In 2017, he was the only Republican senator who voted for the 32% permanent tax increase.
And he's voted for increased taxes at the school district every year as well.
Yep.
So anyway,
go ahead.
They circumvented, basically tried to cut her out of communications. They tried to censor her, or basically say you can't do this or you can't do that. She had some Open Meeting Act violations that she's exposed, and the lawyer and the superintendent, all in cahoots, tried to imply that she was the problem and she did something wrong. Well, they went so far as to file a complaint with her employer, which was Eastern Illinois University. She's a professor at the school. And so she had to take on that fight, and it was completely unfounded. It was all fabricated.
Mm-hmm.
And it was their way of basically trying to shut her up. Well, Heidi Larson is a rock star. You're not going to shut her up. She stands on principle, and she fights, and she can fight hard. And we need more of these cases to expose these people. We're going to write about the lawsuit, and we'll publish it, but we have not seen any local reporting on it outside of a Facebook post, which doesn't surprise anybody. Local media doesn't cover much of anything anymore.
Yeah, no, she's got some guts here because she filed this lawsuit on Thursday, October 2nd, and as the plaintiff, and she filed it against the school district for which she is a board member, and the superintendent himself, and the president of the board at the time when this happened. And I'm reading this 16-page lawsuit, and it's she essentially says, commencing in or about 2021 and continuing through 2024, Larson engaged in speech and activity as a citizen in a citizen comments and as a board member. She's a sitting board member. She's having to sue her school district and the board president, her colleague. This is unbelievable. And some of those issues were opposition to mask mandates, opposition to the district lift building and program, questioning the lawfulness and grounds for no bid construction management contract with a retired former district administrator related to the lift building, and requests for appearance before the board to substantiate work to assure lawfulness and exclude any kickback scheme. So she's trying to work in the public's interest. She is a sitting board member. She has access to this. She should be able to say all this. And she wanted transparency through live stream meetings for the public. And she wanted a review of the superintendent's performance and to me to discuss evaluation before the contract extension. Essentially, she's getting shut down. Everything she asks to have a discussion, as you would have with a board, is basically not happening. That's what my sense is from this lawsuit.
Oh, absolutely. And the sad part is we ended up doing some FOIA requests for her, and we got records that she couldn't put her hands on as a board member. Now, that's just wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's basically suing them because they've engaged in a hostile and oppositional behavior towards her and in communications with other boards and staff. And there's also been retaliatory behavior that motivates to deflect transparency and prevent public disclosure. So, I mean, this is a pretty good lawsuit. We'll see where it goes. The board is obviously dysfunctional.
Fortunately, it's filed in the federal court, so that's a plus. It's not in your local state courts. This is a federal lawsuit.
Yeah, and it looks like they went after her in what she does professionally in her role at Eastern Illinois University as well.
Right. They tried to manipulate through their complaint to hopefully get her fired.
Yes.
She was running for re-election, and in that process, their goal was to, create dirt. Oh, she's under investigation. Well, yeah, because they filed a bogus complaint on her.
Yep. Well, good luck to her. I'm glad you guys are covering it because, again, like you said, the media doesn't pick up on this stuff. So, this could take a while to weave through. Again, it looks like these complaints started in 2021, and we're now 4 years post that. She's finally getting around to filing a complaint, and then this could drag on for a couple more years. So just her resolve to keep at it and not just give up and give in is amazing.
Well, she's also one who is sued, and I believe it's going to the Supreme Court. She sued Coles County for improper property tax assessments. So, like I said, she's a rock star. She is not putting up with this crap anymore.
Ah, man, that's great. We need more people doing this type of effort when they sit on a local board. I just don't, maybe, I don't know if she's going to be able to talk about this. If you guys know her, if you could let me know and we could have her on to talk about it, that'd be great.
You bet. We'll get that done.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, anything else to add? We've got about a minute left in the program.
I finished up tonight with our speaking over in Hancock County, and the local chairman there said, for those that don't know, the watchdogs investigated Hancock County several years ago, and the heads were nodding. Well, on my way out, several of the board members said, yeah, I got on the board because of what you guys exposed. We got rid of all the bad actors. So that was a very nice words to find out these people are actually fixing the things that we exposed up there.
Well, it's great. And it's nice that you went out there to be the keynote for their big dinner. That's great. And then maybe you just woke up a few more people that they can get involved locally and start to change things in the state. Good for you.
I've got about six pieces of paper handed to me on the way out with contacts.
Oh, for contacts? Oh my gosh.
All kinds of corruption they want us to look into.
Your workload never ceases. We need more watchdogs. Kirk and John can't do it all, guys. Get involved. All right, that's all we have time for. Thanks a lot for joining me. This is The Real Story with Jeanne Ives. We'll be back next week.
Advertisement includes a celebrity impersonation.
You know, nothing beats the comfort of a perfectly heated home.
And when it comes to heating your home, Air Right Heating and Cooling does it the best.
And they love our country. Beautiful people.
Air Right Heating and Cooling is fast. When your furnace breaks down, they'll fix it right away.
Just like that. Big time results. No waiting around. You get the job done right. And let's face it, who doesn't love being warm, right? It's beautiful. When it's freezing, I crank up that amazing furnace. Burn, baby, burn. Trust me, you'll say, wow, I've never felt this warm in my life.
If you like keeping your hard-earned money, then contact Air Right Heating and Cooling. Tell them AM 560 sent you, and right now you'll receive $56 off any service.
Unbelievable.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling today at AIR-RITE.com.